In the 16th and 17th centuries, hospitals and hospices in Madrid served as places to confine and torture all kinds of women who transgressed the standards set by a society under male control. These included poor women, petty thieves, fortune tellers, prostitutes, and adulterers. With the emergence of more enlightened and compassionate beliefs in the 18th century, the type of places where women were imprisoned diversified. Homes for wayward or penitent women sprang up to seclude prostitutes from society, where they were subjected to a strict religious regime. Wearing wimples and veils and living under a strict rule, they could only leave to marry or take religious vows. These places were also used to imprison women who had committed a wide variety of minor offences, such as vagrancy or theft of clothing, and moral crimes such as living together before marriage or the very heavily punished transgression of female adultery. Such crimes might be denounced by their very own families, especially by their male relatives, who could use the law to deny women their freedom and who also used such establishments to hide unwanted pregnancies. A hospice once stood in the space occupied now by the building in front of you, which in the early 18th century also housed the College of San Nicolás de Bari, a prison for women who had cast aside ideas of honour or marital fidelity and had committed a sinful crime. The prison had received a donation of 2,000 ducats from a jeweller, perhaps so that he could incarcerate his wife there, accused of infidelity, for life. At first, the institution was intended for the daughters of wealthy families who could afford to pay the prisoners' upkeep, but it also had a limited number of places for poor women who had to do all the daily chores. One of the prisoners, María de San Miguel, was sent there in 1748, and her story has survived to the present day. Raised in a public orphanage, Mary was later adopted by a wealthy family, but her rosy future was devastated by the attentions of a man. Mary believed that her beloved was unmarried and returned his attention, until her mother discovered his true marital status. He was banned from the house, but this only inflamed the man's passion more and led him to harass the family. The mother, fearing that her daughter and her honour were in danger, presented the case to a judge, who agreed to punish the victim by incarcerating her. The history of prisons in Madrid is full of similar cases where institutions were used by fathers, husbands, and other figures of male authority to severely punish female rebellion or curtail women's physical freedom. For example, Valentina de la Puente was imprisoned for 1 year and 5 months for vagrancy, for being abandoned and homeless. The judge recommended that if a trustworthy person presented himself, she should be handed over. Ana Liñán, accused by her husband of committing excesses and adultery, was sentenced to 6 months' imprisonment, but eventually served 3 years. Catalina González, aged 19, was sentenced to 2 years for suspicious behaviour, talking to 2 soldiers on the street at 9 o'clock in the evening. However, if she agreed to marry her suitor and probable accuser, she would be released from prison.